Good morning, guys, and welcome to Ramble as I Ramble. This is obviously my channel where I just talk about stuff that I think is relevant as I walk the dog, hence me rambling with no real script as I ramble with the dog. Anyway, so we have entered into a new year, and I was just thinking, what can we talk about that's of relevant to us? I mean, a lot of us have over the years, get my watch going, decided that we're going to at times have New Year's resolutions and decide that we're going to change. Everything's going to change from here. We're going to be a new person as of the new year. And I started thinking, for most people, certainly in my business, a lot of people come in and have New Year's resolutions. They're going to get fitter. They're going to get slimmer. They're going to make a difference. And it's all about that new start. It's all about doing something different. But actually, then I suddenly thought, rather than having a resolution, why don't we have an unresolution? And what I mean by that is, why do we suddenly drop everything that we've done in the previous year and decide that we're going to do something different? Why don't we sit down and go, okay, well, I had this plan for the year that's just gone, or this plan for the year that's just gone, and I got halfway through it and didn't quite complete it. So why don't we sit down and go, well, actually, the end resolution is that we're going to complete it. That what we're going to do is continue on. Come on, this way. Continue on in the vein that we ended the year off. For me, 31st to the 1st of January is like Christmas. It's just another day. So it could be a way that we just bolster ourselves and give it renewed vigor, but continue on with what we were doing. Have that unresolution process that we want to do. And it leads on into another aspect that I was looking at. And this whole thing about, why do we have to all the time have a plan? Why does everything have to be planned down to the minutiae? There's no real reason why that can work more so than not having a plan. For example, look at what I do with Ramble as I Ramble. Totally unscripted. I just sit down and go, okay, well, what am I going to talk about? And then 9 times out of 10, we get 10 to 15 minutes of ramble. And it seems to make sense. Or it does to my scattered brain. So there's no real reason why everything has to be scripted down to the last minute. And actually, it's something that a concept that I've been thinking about for a long, long time. And that is life and work and social life and relationships being perfectly imperfect. So it's like anybody, any person. There is no person that's perfect. Brad Pitt isn't perfect. Angelina Jolie isn't perfect. All of these famous people, even some famous leaders. Winston Churchill wasn't perfect. Mahatma Gandhi wasn't perfect. Even people like Nelson Mandela definitely wasn't perfect. But they were perfectly imperfect. There were aspects of them that were great. And there are aspects of you that are great. There are aspects of you that work brilliantly, and there are aspects of you that are really, really poor. So why don't we actually embrace the fact that we are perfectly imperfect, and then embrace the fact that actually our lives, realistically, the best way that we can embrace that is for them to be perfectly imperfect. You know, we all have nuances, we all have differences, which is why people are drawn to certain people and others are drawn to others. It could be aspects of their personality, aspects of their behavior, aspects of their looks, even aspects of their choices that actually don't fit with certain people. I mean, there are certain people, you certainly find it in things. I was watching a documentary yesterday about the LDS, and there are certain aspects that those people will accept and won't accept. You know, they marry within the religion, which really drops their, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, the number of people that they can get into a relationship with. So those sorts of things, if you embrace the fact that you are perfectly imperfect and that everyone around you is perfectly imperfect, then you actually take pressure off yourself. You're less pressured as to what happens in your life. And actually, life can be unscripted. Life can be just fun. And that's the important piece of it all. It's just allow that to be imperfect. Morning. Yeah. So if you do all of that and approach the perfectly imperfect aspect of it all, then suddenly the pressure's off. You're not having to have this perfect persona. You see it a lot with people put themselves under pressure because they have to have the perfect car, the perfect house, the perfect job title. And I certainly found it a lot with some of the people that I've met who feel that they have to show that they have the perfect relationship, even when deep down it's all a facade and an absolute lie. You know, their relationships are amazingly toxic. You know, they hate each other, but they have to show the world that their lives are perfect. Why? Why don't you show that your life is imperfect? Mine's definitely imperfect. And I embrace the fact that it's imperfect. I'm definitely imperfect. I have a low tolerance for idiots. And 9 times out of 10, the person that I have the low tolerance for, the idiot, knows that I think they're an idiot. Because I do hope that that person thinks I'm an idiot and doesn't want to spend time with me. Because that would be awkward, wouldn't it? I think you're an idiot, you think I'm great, I want to spend time with me. Be nothing worse than that. So, anyway, that was a ramble. I threw 2 different topics together. The unresolution and actually embracing what we've done in the past to ensure that those lessons are learned, that we actually do get done what needs to be done. And just one day, just because it's December the 31st to January the 1st, doesn't mean that we drop what we've been doing. Let's just continue on. The key thing is to imperfectly, consistently turn up. And that is where you'll get the difference, is just turn up. Just be there. Because everything else will change. Your fitness will improve if you consistently turn up. Okay, it doesn't have to be the perfect session every single time. Just that consistency piece is where the difference will lie. Oh, what a fantastic view. Let's have a look. I'll show you the view. It's pretty cool. So yeah, it's tough life when you're doing all of this. That's Ramble as I Ramble. And that's how we do. If you like it, click the button. If you want to hear more, subscribe. Anyway, guys, you take it easy and have a great 2026.